Looking for ways to keep your engine temps down? Well, I am Chase here at Rocky Mountain ATV MC, and these are my top 5 tips to keep your engine running cooler in hot weather. So we all know that heat is a silent killer for any motorcycle or ATV's engine, especially if you ride in a hot climate or if you do a lot of slower technical riding. So today I want to share with you my top 5 tips and accessories that are going to help keep your engine temperatures cooler and help prevent your motor from overheating. Now the first one I want to share with you is the digital Radiator Fan Kit coming from Tech. Now these are especially important for riders that do a lot of slow and technical riding. The reason I say that is because at slower speeds you have less air passing through your radiators, so they're not going to be able to dissipate heat as well. So the Radiator Fan Kit from Tech combats that by mounting to the back of your radiator. Now we offer these as machine-specific kits, or there is a universal fan that they have as well. And it mounts to the back of the radiator, and what's nice is you can actually program these to turn on at different temperatures. So when you do reach that temperature that you set it to, the fan will kick on. It's going to pull more air through your radiator, and it's going to help promote better cooling. And one feature that we love about these is you have a digital temp display that you can see, so you can actually monitor your engine operating temperature. So that's going to give you a good indicator of whether or not your bike or your ATV may overheat. The way it works is really simple. You're just going to have a thermal sensor that goes between your cooling fins on the back. Once you have it mounted up, you are ready to rock and roll. Now my second accessory, a great one to have on your bike or your ATV, is a recovery tank. This is the Motion Pro coolant recovery tank that I have here. So if you've ever seen a bike or ATV, when it gets too hot, it starts to overheat and you see coolant spewing out the bottom, well this happens because your coolant is getting so hot that it's starting to boil, and rather than blowing your radiator cap off, there's an overspill on your radiator to prevent that from happening. The problem is once your coolant starts to spill out, it is going to be lost. You're not going to be able to get it back unless you happen to have some coolant nearby. But once you lose it, it's gone, and now your coolant temperature or your coolant levels could be low. So what's great about these is they have a hose that connects the coolant recovery tank to your radiator. So if that were to happen, if your coolant starts to boil over, it will actually be caught by this recovery tank, and then as it cools off, it will actually recycle it back into your radiator, so you're not going to lose that coolant. So that's a really great accessory to have that's going to prevent you from losing coolant if your bike or ATV does overheat. So my third tip and my third accessory, it's a really simple one but very efficient, is our Tusk high pressure radiator cap. So these are really inexpensive. They just replace the stock radiator cap that you have on your bike or your ATV. And what they do is they increase the operating pressure of your cooling system. So they have a higher pressure rating than your OEM cap. And what that higher pressure rating does is it increases the boiling point of your coolant, and that's also going to help you prevent losing your coolant. Another great feature about these is you can see on the front it has a temp display. So you can actually see what your coolant temperatures are, and it's going to help you monitor those. So you're going to have them in a 1.8 for most of your Japanese bikes and a 2.0 for most of your European bikes. So these don't necessarily make your engine run cooler, but it helps you keep an eye on your coolant temps, and it's going to help prevent you from losing coolant if your bike or ATV does start to overheat. So my fourth tip is going to be all about letting it flow, baby. So the faster and more efficient that your engine can circulate coolant, well, the cooler it is going to run. So I've got a few tips and tricks that are going to help promote that. The first one is an aftermarket water pump and impeller. So we have a lot of these to choose from on our website from different brands. One of our most popular is going to be the Boysen brand. Now what these do to help with that is the inside is going to have a larger flow passage. It's got a smooth surface, but a lot of it is going to be in the impeller design that they have. And that impeller design actually has less cavitation. If you don't know what cavitation is, it's those air bubbles that form when the impeller starts to spin really fast. And the less cavitation you have, the more efficient your water pump is going to be. Now just to give you guys a good idea of what I'm talking about here, we recently installed one of these on a YZ250. So this is the stock impeller, and you can see just how different the impeller on the Boysen is. So the impeller on the Boysen is going to give you less cavitation. So those are a great accessory to have to help promote better coolant flow through your cooling system. Now to go along with that, aftermarket radiator hoses are a great update to do as well. So I've got the Tusk brand here on the table. What's nice about these, they have embedded fibers in them, so they're very strong. They have a nice smooth surface on the inside, and they're thicker than your OEM tubes, which are actually going to have a higher pressure tolerance for your cooling system. Now a tip that I have for you is with your radiators. You want to inspect your radiators periodically. You want to make sure there's no damage to them, because if you've had a crash or a tip over and you have a bent radiator, that could be restricting the amount of coolant flow that you're getting. If you have restricted coolant flow, which is going to make your radiators less efficient. Another thing you want to be doing is inspecting your radiator, your cooling fins that you have here. These cooling fins are very important. These are actually what absorb the heat from the coolant as they pass through the radiator and dissipate it into the air. So if you have any of these that are smashed or bent up, it's a good idea to straighten those out. I have seen guys use a flathead screwdriver. It's not something I would recommend. A nice tool that makes it a little bit easier is this Radiator Fan straightening tool from Helix Racing. You can see on the outside, you're gonna have different sizes. They almost look like combs. You're gonna find the correct size for your cooling fins. It's just gonna make it easier to get those straightened out. Now my fifth and final tip, and this might seem like a no-brainer, but it's just gonna be with your liquid levels. You wanna make sure you're looking at your radiators, check your coolant levels, make sure they are topped off before you go out and ride. And periodically, it is a good idea to actually just flush out your old coolant and get some fresh coolant in there. Now one brand that we really like, that we've had great success with over the years, is Engine Ice. Never had any issues with our bikes overheating. Now oil isn't thought of too often when it comes to keeping your engine temps down, but I'm telling you right now, it plays a huge role. So your oil is gonna lubricate your engine, so it's gonna help reduce friction. We all know that friction is what creates heat, and it's gonna transfer that heat through the engine and help dissipate it through the outer walls. So you wanna make sure you have the correct amount of oil in your engine to keep it lubricated properly. And on the flip side, if you have too much oil, well, you can create too much pressure in the engine, and it's gonna actually make it work harder, which is gonna create more heat. So you wanna make sure, look at your owner's manual and see just how much oil you have and make sure that your levels are correct. That's especially important if you have an air-cooled motor. If you have an air-cooled engine, you gotta make sure your engine levels, your oil levels are right where they need to be. It is absolutely crucial. Now another tip that I do have for you, another thing, you always wanna look at your owner's manual for this as well, but if you are riding in hotter temperatures, it's not a bad idea to go to a higher weight oil. If you're in hot temperatures, your engine's hot, if you have a lower weight, that can actually get too thin, which is not gonna lubricate your engine as well as it should be. So it's not a bad idea in those hot conditions to go to a higher weight oil, but again, look at your owner's manual because they will give recommendations for that. But there they are. Those are my top 5 tips and accessories to help keep your engine running cooler and to help prevent overheating. And I would absolutely love it if you guys would comment below, leave us your suggestions. What do you guys like to do to help keep your engine temps down and prevent overheating? And then do yourself a favor. Click on the link, head over to RockyMountainATVMC.com to pick up all the parts and accessories we talked about today. Click subscribe to us on YouTube, and don't forget guys, orders over $75 are always going to ship free. I'm Chase here at Rocky Mountain, and we'll see you on the trails.